Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bobster with Cosmic Obsession. We typically broadcast on Night Skies Network with the Mallincam equipment and our scope. And of course, what we typically see is the new folks coming in have a lot of questions, and we totally understand why that is. It seems a little daunting at first, but what we wanted to do today was try to give a real basic connection process instructional video to the new folks, and hopefully we'll make that process just a little simpler. Y'all bear with me. I'm fairly new at doing the videos, but hopefully what we'll impart to you guys today will help. Okay, so basically our equipment, what we're going to show y'all today, we typically broadcast with a an Extreme 2 Mallincam video camera. And the control software we typically use is the Milo Slick by Bill Copperwatts. Now, having said that, you have to have a capture device, which we typically use the MCV1-E, which is a Mallincam device also, and a third-party software, which Milo Slick requires you have a third-party software that captures the Milo Slick image to broadcast to NSN. And what we generally use is Webcam Max. And having said that, we understand that there are other third-party softwares like your split cams, your Mandycams and whatnot that do the same thing. There's nothing wrong with those. Personally, I find them a little more complicated to use, but they do the same thing, which we'll go into here momentarily. But what I'm going to do right now, I've got nothing plugged in, nothing started. Your typical PC screen, as you can see on the left, my icons, my Windows logo in the middle, and nothing else is running. So what I'm going to do while I'm talking to you folks, I'm reaching down to my camera power. Excuse me. I've just plugged in the Mallincam Extreme, and what I usually do is follow that up with opening the software. If you look off the left here, you'll see the Mallincam icon, which I'm going to double click on, and you're going to see the software open up. What I'm going to do is drag it down to the lower right hand corner. Now typically this camera opens up in the video mode, which you'll see some indicators. I mean, it's calling it video shutter, where 1/60th is where it's defaulting at. We don't want to have to go through the 3-minute countdown when we change over to like deep sky or another mode, so we're going to leave it in video mode just for test purposes today. When you open, of course, you know your camera is still powered up, it's ready to go, and there's a couple of checks you really need to go through at this point just to make sure the connection process goes well. And I'm going to try to explain that, and like I said, bear with me. Generally, when Milo Slick opens up like this here, if you'll go over to your preferences, little cog icon, open that, and hopefully this is all small, or large enough for you to see. But the very important feature of this, you need to go to this camera type pull down, open that up, and make sure you have the type camera you're connecting checked off here. Because if you don't do that, what tends to happen is Milo Slick does not set up the software to control the right camera, and you will realize that some of the functions in Milo Slick are not active for that reason. Of course, what it's showing here is the Mallincam Junior, the Mallincam Junior Pro, Junior Pro PC, Mallincam Hyper Plus, the VSS Plus, Extreme PC, Extreme X2, which in our case is what we have, and Extreme X2 PC. So if you look right up here, we already have the Mallincam Extreme X2 checked. So that's in good shape. Another feature is what type chip you have in that particular camera you're using. Either standard color CCD, the standard monochrome CCD, a color X-View HAD or the monochrome X-View HAD CCD. In our case, again, we have the color HAD CCD. Yeah, that is correct. So I'm going to click that. We're good there. This defaults, this video format pull down defaults to 30 frames per second for NTSC applications. That's what we're going to leave this as for us. And of course, we're using COM port 6 on our computer to make this connection. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out, say OK. Another check you need to do while you've got the Milo Slick ready to start using, you need to go to, and let me make sure I do this correctly. We don't want camera, we want video pull down. And if you go to your video device pull down, what we're grabbing here is basically the connection between your frame grabber and your computer. In our case, it's called USB 2828 device. That's for us. If you've got a different device, this is where you will, it should show up here once you powered up your camera and your computer. That device should show up here. This is where you'll check that. This is for the frame grabber. This has to be checked correctly in order for it to grab the image that the camera is putting out right now. Okay, this has nothing to do with NSN yet, so don't confuse that. This is for the camera image only. So make sure you have that checked correctly. In our case, it's 2828X device, which we have checked. Okay, let's see if we can find one other check to make sure the camera and the software is communicating. What I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is go to this first tab right here. I believe I haven't used it in a while, but I'll go down and check. Yes. The camera output typically will show you color bars if you're making that communication with the camera correctly. What I'm going to do is click this color bar box on, and we should see color bars, which means we're communicating with the camera correctly. So let's, okay, my color, of course what you see is a really nasty looking color bar. Let me go over to make sure I do this correctly. Yeah, my saturation is way down low. What's going to happen, I'm going to raise this up, and there's your color bars. That means your control, your Milo Slick control, is communicating with the camera correctly. Okay, so that's a good check to do. And a final check to look at, if you look down this lower left hand corner of the Milo Slick software, it says MCX Stream X2 connected. That's also another good indication you're connected to the camera. Okay, I'm going to leave this color bar up so we've got a frame of reference to look at, because I've got my scope capped. The camera's sitting in the scope, but we're not going to see anything because it's dark, of course. So, okay, at this point you're ready to open up your third-party software, and I'll show you why. What I'm using is Webcam Max. I'm going to go over to my Webcam Max icon, double click on it, and you're going to see Webcam Max pop up here. Okay, I've got red boxes and programs open up, and it's a little confusing looking now, but I'll explain why. There's a couple things in the Webcam Max or the third-party software you need to check. In Webcam Max, if you go down to this little gear right here, that's your options tab, and it's your generalized settings for your Webcam Max program. What we want to double check to make sure we're at 640 by 480, which is the webcam source size. That's the max resolution of Webcam Max. If you open this, you'll see different settings, 176, 144, blah, blah, blah. And the highest setting in Webcam Max is 640 by 480. We're going to click that and set that to that. If you close that, what happens after you've used Webcam Max this session and you close it out, it will default back to that 640 by 480 in this case, but it wouldn't hurt to check it. Okay, now to the guts of the Webcam Max program. What we're trying to do is get an image that we can broadcast to NSN. If you go down to this third little button down here, right here, it says capture screen source. Click on that, and what will happen, this little sidebar will come up, and it says mode right here. You want to go to your pull down and look at what you have here. Follow cursor, specific window, specific area, and full screen. I'm going to click on full screen even though that's not the right setting, and I'll show you why. If I go full screen, you see what happens? It grabs the entire PC screen and my alternate monitor as well. But what you'll see also, I'm going to look at my cursor, that red box makes that entire screen active is what it does. So it sees everything inside of there, including the Webcam Max program and the MiloSlick program. Now, like I said, that's the wrong thing you're looking for. I just want to give you a little indication what was going on. What we're looking for is specific area, and I'll show you why. If I grab specific area, what we get is this little red box floating around on this screen. This is the box that you want to drag down over the MiloSlick preview screen window. This is the image. It's grabbing the actual image is actually being will be broadcast on NSN. This is an active window. So if you'll stretch it, you can grab the edge of that red box and change the size of it, whatever you want to do, move it around. And that really is the image that you're going to broadcast on NSN. Now, once you get to that point, you've got it adjusted correctly, you can go up to Webcam Max to the little minus sign and minimize it. That's kind of important because I'll show you here. If you minimize that, it gets that program off the screen. You'll realize as new folks and everything, you're going to need as much screen real estate as you have, because you're going to have 3 or 4 or 5 programs open and it gets really congested. Just a neat little feature that you can do to get it out of your way. Now, having said all this, you're ready to actually make that connection to NSN, because even though you don't see the red box, it's still an active capture area, and it will remain that way until you turn Webcam Max off. Now, if for some reason you end up moving that MiloSlick program, that image box does not change. Even though you're not seeing it, it's still in the same location. And I'll show you about reopening Webcam Max. Okay, you see that? I just opened the program back up so you can do whatever work you need to with it. But that active capture window stayed exactly in the same place. The only thing that's moved is the MiloSlick, okay? So in this case, what you'd have to do is move your program back over to the same spot, or move that red box over to your MiloSlick and readjust your red box again, and you're off and running again. So I'm going to minimize Webcam Max again to get it out of our way. There we go. Now you're ready to make the connection to NSN. This is actually a very simple process. I'm going to go down to my IE, which I know most of you folks hate, but it works well.